To the fantasy basketball season. And here's a few centers I would look to sell high and trade this week. The first guy is Kristaps Porzingis of the Dallas Mavericks. Porzingis on the season, he's ranked 106, 20 points a game, 8.6 rebounds, 1.5 assists, 1.8 blocks a game, 2.1 threes, 85% from the foul line, 46% from the field. But the last few weeks, Porzingis, he's starting to play better now for this Dallas team. 23.5 points a game, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 2.5 threes a game made, 92% from the foul line, 49% from the field. So in this time span, he's ranked number 26th is Porzingis. And the last few games, he's played pretty decent. Versus Golden State, February 4th, 25 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals. Versus Golden State again, February 6th, 18 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists. And then February 8th versus Minnesota last night, which was his best game so far this season. 27 points, 13 rebounds, 4 assists, 6 blocks, and 4 threes. So Kristaps Porzingis, he's starting to play more minutes, 30, 35 minutes a game he's getting up to right now. And Dallas, obviously, they traded a decent amount to get him from the New York Knicks. Porzingis, he's a talented ball player, no denying that. But the problem with him is his injuries. We saw it earlier this year. He missed a tons of games with the knee injury, rehabbing. And I don't know if he's going to hold up. So Porzingis right now, while he's playing his best basketball this season, he's a player definitely on the sell high list this week. Because I don't know if he's going to make a full season. I don't know if he's going to miss games here and there. Still, he can't play in back-to-backs. And he's putting up stats. But right now, if I could get a decent package or a good one-for-one deal, Porzingis is definitely a center I would look to sell off this week. The second center I would look to sell off is Christian Wood of the Houston Rockets. Wood, he's been a monster so far this season in fantasy basketball. But once again now, that ankle, this time it went pretty bad for Wood. He's week to week with a bad ankle sprain. And it don't sound good in my opinion. On the season, he's ranked 48th overall, 22 points a game, 10 rebounds, 1.3 assists, 1.5 blocks a game, even 2 threes a game he was adding, and 55% from the field. So Christian Wood, he was a breakout guy for this Houston team, and they were playing good basketball until he got injured with the Rockets. And the Rockets, yeah, they're going to take their time with him. I believe this season's kind of a rebuild anyway for Houston after trading James Harden to the Brooklyn Nets a couple weeks ago. But anyway, Christian Wood, he's a player I would look to sell off and try to get anything for him right now. Because if he misses 4 or 5 weeks, that's a big chunk. And that takes you to week 13. And if you're definitely down in the standings with Wood, he's a player I would look to sell off and try to get something of decency. I'm not saying just trade him and dump him for anything, but this ankle injury sounds serious. If he's going to be evaluated week to week, in my opinion, he'll probably miss anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks, and that'll take us to anywhere from week 12 to week 14. So that's a big span of time that Wood could be missing. So if you have him on your roster, I think it's time to get rid of him and get someone who's playing and healthy right now. If you're down in the standings, especially, the next center I would look to sell high this week's Jonas Valanciunas of the Memphis Grizzlies. Valanciunas, he came off the COVID list, and he's been playing lights out the last few games. On the season, he's averaging 16 points a game, 11 rebounds, 2 assists, 77% from the foul line, and 56% from the field. And in the last couple games, he's averaging, since he returned, 25 points, 13 rebounds, 2.5 assists, and a block, 93% from the foul line, 73% from the field. So he's ranked number 5 in fantasy basketball in the last few weeks is Valanciunas. And the 2 games since he returned, February 6th at New Orleans, 23 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, and a block, 2 threes. And then last night versus former team, the Toronto Raptors, Valanciunas, he went for the big 20-20 game. 27 points, 20 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, a block, 66% from the field. So right now, Valanciunas, he came back with a bang right now off the injured list. And he's playing well, no doubt about it. But I think his value's at its peak right now, especially after a 2020 game this is the perfect time to look and sell Valanciunas high, because 2020 games, people, they overreact, just like 50 plus games. Everyone overreacts and then try to trade for that player or whatever. So right now, with his value at its peak, I would go out there and see what I could get for Valanciunas. I'm not just going to trade him for anything, because he's a definite double-double guy, a 15 and 10 guy, which is still solid in fantasy basketball. But if someone's going to overpay for Valanciunas, this might be the week to do it. So he's definitely a sell-high candidate. The next center that's a sell-high candidate is Chris Boucher of the Toronto Raptors. In the last few weeks, he's been on this list, but now he's played better in the last 2 or 3 games. Is Boucher for this Raptor team on the season? He's ranked 43rd in fantasy basketball, 13.8 points a game, 6.5 rebounds, an assist, half a steal a game, 1.63, 74% from the foul line, 53% from the field is Boucher. But in the last week and a half, he's averaging 16.3 points a game, 8.5 rebounds, 1.3 assists, 1.5 threes a game, and he's shooting a nice 58% from the field is Boucher. And the last 3 games is where he's reemerged now as a solid fantasy option. At Brooklyn, February 5th, 17 points, 9 rebounds, 2 blocks, and a 3. February 6th at Atlanta, a huge 29 and 10 game with 2 blocks and 2 threes. And then last night versus Memphis, another nice double-double, 12 points, 10 boards, a steal, a block, and 2 threes for Boucher. But Boucher, I can't trust him. We saw him go through a slump for about 2 to 3 weeks with a bad span of games. But right now, with his value back up after a couple big games in the last week for Boucher, I would go out there and look to trade him once again, because we've seen him have some downfall. He's not used to this many minutes in his career. And the last 3 games, his minutes have gone up again, and that's why he's producing. But I don't think Nick Nurse is 100% behind Boucher, because he had a couple ball games in a row where he played 13 minutes, 14 minutes, 18 minutes, 19 minutes. And then the last 3, 27, 33, 29. So the consistency really isn't there for Boucher. And if I could sell him high, this is the time to do it. Right now, in the 5th and final center, I would look to sell high this week is Cody Zeller of the Charlotte Hornets. Zeller, he was on the list last week, and once again he makes it. Zeller, he's playing over his head, in my opinion. On the season, he's ranked 228, 9.6 points a game, 8 rebounds, 2.5 assists, 74% from the foul line, and 49% from the field. But in the last 2 weeks, he's ranked 69th overall with 11.1 points a game, 9.5 rebounds, 3 assists, 50% from the field. In the last few games, he's played pretty decent. February 5th versus Utah, 6.7 rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal. Then February 7th versus Washington, a nice 16 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. And then last night in a blowout victory versus Houston, 10 points, 7 rebounds, and an assist for Zeller. So Zeller, he's getting close to a double-double, but he's not giving you many other categories. His shooting percentage is up and down. He's had a couple good games where he shot well and a few games where he shot under 30%. But right now, Zeller, he's a player owned in 52% of fantasy leagues. But he's definitely a player I would package with someone else and try to get someone better while his value's at a decent peak and a high. So that's a few centers I would look to sell high and trade this week in week 8 of the fantasy basketball season.